real estate, yet I went to Harvard. For the last 2 years, I've been doing real estate course in Harvard. Because there's no end to learning. Unfortunately, what I noticed, particularly with people of color, once we begin to have some reasonable results in a field, we get arrogant. We just feel like, exactly. And I think that's why we don't have so many people of color who are successful. When you meet Elon Musk, you will think that he's just about to become a millionaire. The level of hunger. When he talks, there's that, I don't know if you have heard Elon Musk talk, there's that passion, there's that, and if you meet an average millionaire from Africa, we just have maybe his company is worth $2 million. The way he talks is like he's arrived and he's seen the end of the world and he's about to retire. And it's a major thing for me. Each time it gets me a bit cringy with the psyche of our people and where we are. I remember sharing with somebody I know about how some of my moves, how in the next 100 years, I was giving out data. Nigeria is going to be this in the year 2075, in the year 2100. Some of these investment I'm doing will be what? Say, Mom, by that time, we are dead or almost dead. Why are you planning for 80, 70, 100 years? And at that point, I'd be like, how do I explain?
There you go, sir.
Is it working now?
Yes.
Oh, finally. I was like, how do I explain to this person that this is part of our problem as a culture, as a people, right? Where we oftentimes, can you help me plug the charger because it's almost dead, and I hope, and I just hope it's not the same place the charger and the HDMI works. So
no, it's different.
It's different. Okay, so let's use this other one to the adapter. Okay, this is not yes. Let's hope it works.
Yes.
All
set.
Finally. Thank God. So for me, I always try to explain to people when we come for trainings like this that learning is not a destination, but a what? A journey. Can we all repeat it together? One more time.
It's not a destination, it's a journey.
But it's a journey. So it's important that all of us realize that when we come for trainings like this, we are starting a what? A journey. It's not the end of it, and it's a consistent journey that we'll need to continue to do consistently for a long time to come. So let's not carry the mindset of, I think I'll just learn it one day and I'm good to go. No, you've just started a process that requires further consistent study for you to really get to where you need to be. Does this make sense?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So whether we're able to do 3 hours or 4 hours today, I am going to leave you with the opportunity. Like I said, those who pay the $250 will already get the access. I'm giving you 3 months access to Syracuse University. It goes for $247 a month. So 3 months is like $750, but you're getting that free. And you need to take your time to study those and go through those courses. We have over 1,000 courses in the platform. And consistently, you get better. We're also giving all my 5 books. And then you're having the audio version of the books as well, and the masterclass. So all I'm giving is over £1,000, but you're getting all that for just $250. So I hope that those materials become something that is helpful for you as you start the journey to building your wealth. Okay. Let's hope our slide can come up quickly. I don't know why It's a bit draggy.
Lunch.
It's too large, yeah? You see what I said? It's a 6 hour, it's a 6 hours class. It's a 6 hours class, but I'm trying to see how we can compress it. Jordan, can you come and see if you can help me see which one will work in downloading this thing?
So I think you can open it as a PowerPoint.
As a PowerPoint.
Yes.
Let me see. But is the PowerPoint option and I click on download?
Plus.
Which one is plus?
Okay, so one on the right.
This?
Yeah.
So which one?
Search for PowerPoint from the search bar. Probably.
Power.
Actually, the computer should.
I don't think that's the case. I don't know why it's
It's a file.
Hmm?
What type of file is it? It's a Microsoft file. It's PowerPoint.
You might look at your download folder if it's in right.
No, normally PowerPoint opens. I think it's not a case of the PowerPoint. Could be a network.
An alternative is to open it on WhatsApp, because I sent it as PowerPoint on WhatsApp.
That's what I'm trying to. I'm downloading it on WhatsApp now. It's quite taking some time as well.
It's taking time. The problem is taking time.
I think it's just the time.
That's the problem. It's taking time. It's a very large.
Swap your network to download it, then you can swap it back here.
If I could do what?
You can swap your network. Sometimes you can just change your network to probably mobile.
Do you want to do the mobile on your
I
phone?
don't think it's the network. It's just the file. I think the network is fine. I think it's just the file.
So I'm not even able to cancel. Why is it not cancel? It could be the phone.
You said this reason. Different phones. I'm just on Gmail. Is it on Gmail?
Yeah. Would you like to email it to me and see if I can download it?
Okay.
Airdrop it to you.
A drop.
Yeah, you guys email it to me first. Then I'll
Okay.
download it.
You can, but I think it's about.
I think it's the file.
Huh?
I think it's the file because
I think it's the file. It's not even. We've tried other option. I don't think I'm just sure. Can you just re-upload the file afresh and resend? Because we just even tried it, another option, and it's just not. Then let me tell them to come again that we need to connect with the internet. I think it is an internet issue.
okay, so
So should I resend it to your email?
I think it's the
You can resend it, but I'm also suspecting it's an internet. You can put on your hotspot.
The network seems fine to me though.
Hmm?
The network seems fine.
You're using the same network.
No, it seems fine. It's just it's the first
What network I use?
O2.
So far, it's in your house. Okay, welcome. Can you introduce yourself, sir?
Send me the
My name is Abdul Samad Shehu.
Okay. What do you do and what's your expectation?
I've got it, and I just finished my master's in electrical engineering.
Your master's in electrical power engineering. Ooh. And you guys read all these big courses. Yeah, it's offline. Okay, so where can you work with your degree?
Power station, mini grids in almost in Nigeria, so.
Okay, so are you planning to go? Huh?
Building construction as well.
Are you planning to go back to Nigeria to do your?
Yes, sir.
Okay, when?
August next year.
Oh, you're really a patriotic Nigerian.
It's disconnected. Disconnected.
Because a lot of Nigerians don't want to go back. So what are you hoping to learn from this?
For quite some time now, I'm looking at starting up a business in real estate.
Real estate. Okay. So what kind of business? You know, real estate is quite large. A lot of time when people say, "Oh, start real estate," I'm always one aspect, because real estate is quite large.
So what I want to do is I have some friends around, especially here in the UK. So what I want to do is help them build houses in Nigeria, and because I believe most of them here don't want to stay here for the rest of their lives. So they usually ask me the questions, because before coming into the UK as well, I used to build houses for people. So most of them don't want to stay here for forever. So they are looking for people or someone that can build houses for them in Nigeria. So that's
Okay. So your goal is to go back to Nigeria and start, more like a construction company.
yes.
Okay, beautiful. That makes a lot of sense. Okay, our official photographer. Introduce yourself.
Okay, my name is Oluwafemi Bashewa. I work in IT. I do photography and I also do real estate. This photography was a passion, something I was interested in that, but I found out I could actually go to as a business. So I started shooting, but I just came to the because I had about it and I saw you the last time at the Moses conference. And I thought, okay, let me just go and support you today. So I spoke with one of your staff members and they said, okay, okay. I said, you have a media team? No, okay, don't worry, I'm coming in. So
Is that me clap for him? By the time you see your picture looking good, he made it happen. All right, thank you for that. I appreciate it. Very good.
yeah, so apart from photography, so like I said, I do real estate. But what I do with real estate is that I mostly HMOs and service technician.
Okay.
So, yeah, so I have a property and also I have HMOs.
How many HMOs do you have?
I'll say I have one, but I'm looking for more. But because I would say that I've only started like just over a year ago. So and I'm taking
How many units in the one that you have?
7.
7 bedroom.
Yeah, all in solicitors.
Whoa. Wow. How many was it before you took it over?
I mean, what?
How many was it before you took it over?
It was originally 3, but it was extended 7. I didn't buy it, but I just took it over from the landlord. It's just been finished. It's just I think they just extended about 1.5 years ago.
How much did you pay for it?
I'll say if you talk about rent, I need to pay the rent.
No. Yes. Okay. So you pay rent, and then you sublet it as HMO.
Yes, I pay rent to the landlord, and I basically sublet it to HMO and also service accommodation. I actually do 2 different florist strategies in one. I look at the markets and however I can, like I said, I just started just over a year. So I'm just looking for more opportunities.
So how much are you paying your landlord? How much are you making? 4,400. Then how much is coming in?
I'll say about 7,000 is coming in, but we have expenses that.
So what's your profits?
About 21,500.
That's not bad.
Depending on what strategy is, if it's SA, you tend to spend more money for the cleaners coming. And because if it's the duration of this, get that hosted. But if you're staying that long, then you have to get cleaners to come more often. But if you're staying for like 2 weeks or 3 weeks or 1 month, you get the cleaners to come.
Oh, so you use it for Airbnb or a short legs?
Short legs, and I also use a part of it for guests, tenants pay for
more.
6 months and over.
Okay. You're welcome. And once again, thank you all for coming. It's good to have you. Our slide is working now, thank God.
Yes.
So let's get started. I hope those of you on Zoom can see my slide.
My name is Stephen. I started 3 years ago, 2008, having the gods. And of course, the one thing to be wealthy is I was born from a poor family. My mother was a civil servant. My father's business had crumbled before I was born. When I knew that we could be, I knew that poverty was bad, something was wrong. The kind of poverty I've been experiencing over and over again. But something changed my life. At the age of 17, I started reading book on money. And I got to know that I can be wealthy. It's possible. The question was, why are these things not taught in the university? Why is my professor not knowing how to be rich? Why is he not teaching me? And this is why I decided, having traveled with the world, having been global businesses, having started with $10 and grown multi-million-dollar corporation. I started the first wealth university. We will teach you how to make, manage, and multiply money, understanding the secrets. Some of the courses in the Student University, by the time you're done with it, you can literally start your own business or be able to learn how to invest in a business and make money for yourself. So, ladies and gentlemen, I'd like you to sign up today by visiting www.stephenaikitauniversity.com and start your journey to building real wealth and prosperity today. I love you and see you in class.
Okay, so that's the Stephen University. We have courses from all the top guys as well as myself, and it's something you want to take advantage of. I can assure you it goes a long way.
All right, it's a pleasure. First of all, as I was saying, that I want to congratulate you for the great work that you've been doing to enlighten, inspire people, and how to begin to handle the challenges in their lives and how to begin to move their lives to the next level, and creating events of this nature that will allow them to get a larger vision of themselves. So congratulations to you, for you are an icon. You are a force for good on the planet. God has chosen you for that, and I recognize that. And so I'm sending you a virtual hug.
Okay, so these are just some of also when you've been enjoying sessions like this, with.
Hey, today I'm on the Property Brokers Conference. Dr. Stevens with me. This guy is amazing, phenomenal human being. Okay, I got 10,000 people in Nigeria watching this today. People see this right here. I got my little light set up. I'm in Miami.
Okay, so again, you see why you must join Stephen University. How many of you will take advantage of it, right? It's important because we've loaded it with my sessions and sessions from people like this, really, really loaded. I often ask people, why must you become rich? Why must you own a business? For me, it's that owning businesses position you to be able to make a difference, right? We've sent over 10,000 kids to school. And if I wasn't a business owner, we will not be able to do that. This is one of our very passionate projects. We gather widows, particular widows, and, get food items. Because some of these people, as a result of where they're coming from, they're not even sure of the next meal, and we run our food program regularly. And for me, what I love that is important about giving, you must give with the right heart, right? You see me dancing with them. I don't like giving that it creates an environment as if somebody's at the top and is throwing trickle down. And that's why I hate people begging me, right? I don't like it. I don't think you should even beg anybody, not even just me. Please let me ask them the complimentary water they were supposed to give us, right? I don't think so. I think sometimes it robs us of our dignity. So am I saying you should not get help? No. I'm saying always think of value exchange, right? I have a need. I should sit down and think, okay, what can I offer this person, right? In exchange for what I'm asking them to do for me. Is this making sense at all? I've met people who say, Dr. Stephen, and that's just what that man did, and that's why it's commendable, right? I'm not sure I can pay $250 or £250 to come for your training, right? But can I offer, to do your videos, to take pictures? Do you see how value has exchanged, right? Now, he's going to get all my books and, he's going to get the access to Selected University, right? Because that is value exchange. Am I making sense of this? But to come and just be like, help me. In my book, The Billionaire Habits, there's a lot of wisdom you will learn there. The people who love to help the most are rich people, but they hate people having to beg them. Am I making sense of that? Or they hate people coming as though it's an entitlement. Like, I have to. Am I making sense of that? They hate it, right? Because that's also not how they made it. They've had to offer value in exchange as they keep going up. Does this make sense? Right? So it's not like folding your hands and say, oh, give me something. That's not how it works. We just, we're closing this week a $5 million property in Houston, Texas. Now, as much as we're able to get, a mortgage of about 70% of that, but you also have to be in the capacity to be able to raise your $1.5 million. And that's what I love about the developed world, America and all, even here, is that the system wants to help you, but the system is saying, do your own part, right? What the part you're doing is not up to what they are doing, but you have to do something. Is this making sense at all? So we must go into business knowing that we must come with the mindset to also help people, not just to get from the society and own big companies that is not adding value to nobody, right? Next is what I always try to show in my presentation, just to put things in context, because I strongly believe motivational speakers have taught us all wrongly. And if we don't set the record straight quickly, we will be on the wrong part of things and thinking we're doing the right thing. There are 4 major ways to make money, as you can see on the screen. You can be an employee, you have a job. And I think 90% of us have a job, right? Okay? If you don't have a job here, can I see your hands up? You own your business. Let me see your hands up. So only you alone. So you see that I'm correct with my guess. So that's even 95%. Okay? Now, is there anything wrong with being an employee? No. I'm not going to tell you that. In fact, it's a good thing to do. But the rule says that you will have to constantly work to make money. Another word for that means that you need to work till you die. That's what Warren Buffett says. So as much as everybody may start there, and there's nothing wrong with doing that, you don't want that to be your long for life strategy. Are we together now? The other option is called self-employment, which means you own a job or a small business. You own a job or a small business. Now, this model simply means, and by the way, that's where most of us are. Even him that owns his business, that's where he is. It's called self-employment. In other words, you own a business, but it's just you and a few other staff running your business for you. But you can't do without the job still. In other words, the job cannot run without you. Do you understand what I'm talking about?
Yes.
And again, if you are here, you are at the same level with the person that is also here. Am I making sense at all?
Yes.
And sometimes you are worse. Who knows what I'm talking about? You that you have a job, there's a guaranteed income every month, right? You that you own the business, some months there's money, some months there's no money. So you might even find yourself in bigger trouble if you're not careful. Now, the 5 businesses we're going to be learning today, the good news is that they're a mixture of this and this. Okay? Self-employment / investment. Depends on how you do them. Now, we then have these other options, business owner and an investor. Now, for everyone, when you start a business, where do you start from? Who can guess? Self-employment. That's where you start from. For you to be able to start as a business, can anybody guess what is required? Some businesses start and almost in 12 months, they are like a business. They have all the corporate governance structure. Yeah. They have all the corporate governance structures there, but who can guess what is required? Eh? Capital. Capital and human resources, but usually it's still the capital that will generate that quality of human resources. So companies that operate at that level are companies that, you know, can tell you that they started with $100 million, 1 billion. Now, even the one they started is still a one-man business. But what we're saying is that because of the level of liquidity, right, many of them are able in 12 months to become a full-fledged structured company. And such will mean that the owner does not need to be in the business for the business to work. Does that make sense at all? There is so much corporate governance, it's properly structured, and there is enough liquidity. So many of companies like Google, Apple, how many of you know that some of them have 5-year funds on the ground? Like the liquidity to run the company for the next 5 years, cash, liquid is in the bank. Right? I think their computer, the CEO one time said they had $20 billion liquid. It's just there. Just singing hallelujah. So when you have a company at that level, now you have a what? A company. You can say you're a business owner. Does that make sense at all? Because the business, yes, you are still involved, but doesn't really need you. Mark Zuckerberg is still involved in Facebook, but it doesn't mean if Mark Zuckerberg leaves, Facebook will crumble. No. Does this make sense?
Yes.
The last one is where I always advise everybody must work hard to be, and that is investor. Money working for you. This is the perfect place. This is where even me, I am working towards. In other words, every business owner is hoping that he will get to a point where he can hand over the business and his equity in the business becomes what fits him or her. Does that make sense? So if you see Richard Branson in Virgin, he's not in Virgin because if he leaves Virgin, Virgin will collapse. He wants to be active, that's all. But the real worth of Richard Branson is not that he owns Virgin. It's the shares he owns in Virgin. So if you come in today, do you know that, I think even up to now, how many of you know Bill Gates is not the largest shareholder in Microsoft? See that? You didn't even know. So in other words, some people are making more money from him, from Microsoft than Bill Gates. Right? So the way, and I think a lot of us didn't figure this out on time. So even the way we structure our businesses, the way we run our company, I know people who fight me over the fact that I didn't just call somebody in my company and say, "Oh, give him job." And I'm like, I'm running, it's not a one-man business, right? Best I can do is to say, okay, this is the CEO of the subsidiary, talk to them. This is the HR, talk to him. And let your skill, your how qualified you are, whatever, determine whether you get the opportunity or not. Is this making sense at all? Yes. But ultimately, every business owner should work towards one day your hands off from your company, and it is your number of shares that is now determining your wealth. However, because not all of us are founders or will be founders of companies that will grow to that level, what is guaranteed is that you must become an investor while you are doing whatever, whether you're an employee, whether you're working towards building your business from scratch. How do I imagine you got the shares of Apple 15 years ago, and you were able to own just 50,000 pounds worth of Apple shares? Do you know how wealthy you're going to be now? Imagine you own 50,000 watts of Tesla. Imagine you own 50,000 pounds worth of Barclays Bank. I think, I don't know whether it was 2008 crisis. Barclays Bank shares fell to less than £1. Imagine you were able to buy Barclays Bank shares that time. You see what we're talking about here? So the first thing is to understand this, because if you don't understand this, you will put all your energy just on, oh, now Dr. Stephen taught me e-commerce. I'm not doing e-commerce, right? And there's no, Amazon can wake up one day and say, you know what? We're not going to be allowing third party to sell on Amazon. We'll be manufacturing all our products. Suddenly your business is over. Do you agree with me? A logistic nightmare can happen, and it happened even during COVID, where a lot of people in e-commerce business are struggling because logistics became an issue. But if you have you are an investor, these other opportunities you've invested, maybe profit from your e-commerce, right? You've put a portion of that into those things. They sustain you during those crises. Is it clear?
Yes.
Look at what happened between COVID and just a few months ago. IT job. Some guys had 4 IT jobs because everybody was working from home. I know that happened here in the UK.
Yes.
It happened here too.
Yes.
And you were just getting big time money. You could be working for Facebook and you were just paying. If I remember, somebody said Facebook was paying her, was it 600,000 a year? And she didn't do anything for 1 year.
This is true.
And that was how people were able to make crazy money. But suddenly now, 12,000 gone. They started letting everybody go. Okay? So the question is, what did you do with that 600,000 when it was coming? Are we financially intelligent now? Are we sure?
Yes.
Right? Because even me, with how big GTEx Homes and GTEx Holding is, I am investing privately. So, in fact, I used to joke, with my staff. I said, look, if the company collapsed today, you could know. One drop in my lifetime, nothing will drop in my lifetime. Because I've been able to build my world in such a way that I've not even been collecting salary. Now I told them to give me land equivalent for all my salary due in the last 15 years. Yeah. And I want to start building my own houses where we have estate. Because sometimes people don't know that I've started those estates doesn't mean I own the estates. Some people have paid for it. Some people have. Am I making sense at all? So, and this is also why people make mistakes. Because when you start building your business and people start investing, yes, you control all the assets, but if you're not conscious of the fact that you don't own all the assets, and you should intentionally strategize on how to own your own portion in the entire company, a day will come, you will be chased out of the place you built. Because you didn't put anything there of your own. Is this helpful? Lastly, under this, 95% of people in the world, they are either employees or trying to own one small business or the other. And guess what? They only control 5% of the fortune in the world. 5% of people in the world, they then put into owning businesses, or they founded businesses that became, they had a system, and they control 95% of the wealth in the world. Is this clear? I often share this quote: don't envy my wealth, envy the sacrifices and the what? And the principles. And that's why I'm big on trainings like this, educating people. And so we're going to be learning 5 different businesses: real estate, business opportunity. We're going to be learning software vending and digital marketing. We're going to be learning that is software as a service. We're going to be learning public speaking and author. Again, this class is just to give you an introduction into the opportunities there, where the money is, and how you can go into them. It is when you then subscribe to this university that you can then go through courses that takes you through step-by-step processes. I hope this makes sense.
Yes.
Then we also will look into e-commerce and drop shipping. Then we'll look at the money market, forex, crypto, and fractional shares in Fortune 500 companies. So let's start with real estate. Right? So what is real estate? Basically property consisting of Jordan. I think the guy just dropped the water somewhere there. If you can I just need water. You can just help us put. So property consisting of land and any permanent structure or improvement on the land, whether natural or man-made. What do you notice here? What do you notice that keep occurring in this definition? Anybody? Improvement. What else? Land as the word. Because land occurred twice there, right? Isn't it?
Yes.
Land, so I'm saying this because we need to understand that when it comes to real estate, the real deal of real estate is the land. It's not the building on it. Thank you. Is the land. So whenever you're thinking real estate, what you need to really think deep is about the land you're buying, the location of the land, okay? The future prospects of that particular location. That is where your mind needs to be and needs to be fixed on. Now, the safest investment to make is what? Is real estate. Who can guess why we say the safest investment to make is real estate? Can anybody guess why?
The land appreciates.
The land appreciation, but forex and crypto appreciates way more. So that can't be the reason why we said real estate is the safest. Why do we say? Thank you. It cannot be stolen. It cannot be carried away.
Okay.
Once you buy it legitimately from the right source,
Yeah.
it's about the safest investment.
You see it everything.
Right? A lot of other types of real estate investment class, anything can happen. You just don't have a control. Some of them are just mythical. They're in the air. You just have this investment. You know of who knows the company that they are currently doing investigation about the owner. This crypto trading platform in the US. Who remember? Huh?
Bitcoin?
No. They're like an exchange. They're a crypto exchange. FTX. You guys forgot? FTX. Right? Practically, we're talking of billions of dollars. Right? The guy was just putting money up and down, just blowing it up and down. Even the person who was influencing for them, when they calculated how much the company had paid the guy, it's equivalent of $2 million a week. Yeah. But that's what happened. But land, you buy it, you can touch it, you can go there, you can hold it, take the sand. It's touchable, it's tangible, it's real.
Yeah.
So that's why we say it's about the safest. Once you buy it properly, it's about the safest. It's tangible. So let's go on. So what is an asset really? Number one, investors buy an asset, a cash outflow, right? Number two, assets generate what? Inflow. Think of every asset as simply a source of what? Come on, you guys with me? I need your energy. A source of what? That's how you do real estate. Think of it as a source of cash flow. It's as simple as that. I was to buy a property in the US, and the lender was saying, if you're just going to buy land alone, the lenders will be reluctant to giving you loan. But if there's a house on it, now they're ready to give you loan. You know why? In their mind, the house could be a source of what?
Security. Cash
flow. No, cash flow. Hey, tap your neighbor, say cash flow. Come on.
They can sell it.
Tap the next neighbor, say neighbor. Cash flow.
Cash flow. Yeah.
Cash flow.
And sell it.
Right?
Yeah.
So even for the banks, they're looking at cash flow. So, okay, you have this ranch. Is there a house on it? There's a house on it. Yeah, somebody will be willing to live in the house and have all that acreage, right? And pay a good amount of money. What they are just interested, let me see that cash flow is coming in. Source of cash flow. So that's the way you need to start seeing real estate. A source of what?
Cash flow.
Cash flow. The gentleman, where is he? Okay, the photographer. You see that property is the source of cash flow. It's getting £1,500 every month from that HMO property, average about that. Now, all he needs to do is to scale it up. That's all. Yeah. Can he do the second? Can he do the third? Can he do the fourth? Can he do the fifth? Can he bring in a lot of automation? Can he open a small office where he has a few staff who then make sure everything goes the proper way? Till a day can come, the guy can be talking about £20,000 every month, £50,000 every month. Now that is an extremely wealthy person. Does that make sense? Yeah. So even people like us, a lot of people look up to us and admire us. But you see, our secret is cash flow. Is that we've built our business to a point that every month, worst case scenario, the devil does not like our things, right? $250,000 we drop. $500,000 we drop. When you get there, then you're a wealthy man or woman. Because now that liquidity is where the power is. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Are we sure?
Yeah.
Good. So there are 8 major ways I teach about making money from the real estate sector. Number 1 is called land banking. Number 2 is called property flipping. Number 3 is commercial rental, like HMO is, a part of that. Number 4 is short let, which is Airbnb, Number 5 is residential rental. It's the other one is commercial rental. So, and then residential rental, and then we have real estate investment trust, and then we have real estate agency and brokerage. So in my advanced course, again, you can watch that in the Stephen Akita University. Like I said, we won't have all the time to go through all of that. You can watch I've done videos on each of these aspects. So just take your time, go through the courses. There's a quiz, and you even get certificate for each of, the classes you go through. But as a matter of intro, I'll just run through that. And I pray. Remember, I'm still on business number 1, real estate. So I pray. Time is my problem here. So I pray I can rush through and we can move in quickly, okay? So let's go to land banking. Everybody, let's read 1 to go. Definition of land banking. Come on, guys. Is that to read? Oh, yeah. 1 to go.
Land banking is among the relatively risky investment opportunities with a potential of high returns. Land banking is one of the oldest
Chai. Okay, so land banking is among the relatively low risk investment opportunity with a potential for high returns. Land banking is one of the oldest real estate investment practices where investors buy small or large quantities of undeveloped land intending to profit from the resale of the land. Please come forward. We don't want people sitting at the back. Kindly come forward. And you are using a slide as well. So come, please. You still have 2 seats at the second row, right? You still have 2 seats at the second row. Please come to the second room. Come to the second room. So now the key emphasis here is buying land, intentionally buying land. And I think we need to take note of that, right? The key emphasis is the intentionality. Are we together now? In buying large quantities. Are we together now? And the intention of buying the land in large quantity is so that you can resell it or so that you can develop it. Does it make sense? Yes. So I'm going to be showing you practically the one I'm doing in Houston, and you will see how I'm really maximizing land banking to the fullest. And you can do the same. But it's one of the oldest and most effective way to invest in real estate. In fact, the people who get the largest returns when it comes to real estate are land bankers. Right? I'm closing this week, like I told you earlier, a property in the US for $5 million. I am extremely sure that my seller bought that land for less than $100,000. I'm extremely sure. Because when I walked into that house, you know it's a ranch. You know she's probably the 2nd or 3rd generation that she inherited that property. Right? And she's selling it for $5 million. I would argued the least she took off was 100,000. 4.9. Okay? But that is land banking for you. And what I love about land banking is that a lot of people who do land banking properly are able to maximize it in the immediate and in the future. So a lot of the typical land bankers started leveraging on it as a ranch, as a farm. So in their lifetime, they benefited from the land. Does that make sense?
Yes.
But guess what? Their children also took over. And at some point, a generation sold it for a much, much higher amount and still made money. So it's one business model that is powerful. However, there are 3 categories or levels to land banking. Number 1, we have undeveloped land, as you're seeing on the screen. We have pre-developed land and we have developed land. Typically, an average person wants to go for which one? Who can guess? Huh? Develop. Everybody wants developed land, right? Who doesn't want downtown London, right? Central London. Everyone wants Central London. If they give it to you today, if you can afford it, you want Central London, right? Even if you don't live there, you still want it. Even if you're going to rent it out, but you still want it. Are we together now? But that's a developed land. What happens if you notice the curve? It goes up, but it comes down as well. So it modulates. What do you notice here under pre-developed? It's constantly going up. It never goes down. You see? Then undeveloped, you see, at some point it was flat for a long time.
Yeah.
Right? Then it gradually started what? Picking up, picking up, picking up, picking up until pre-developed. So my question here in the UK, give me an example of undeveloped land. Anybody? Who can give us an example of undeveloped land? Yeah?
Both the farmlands.
Give us the location. That we can all confirm whether it's true.
This whereby if you're driving on the motorway, you see a lot of it's on, you can say, for when you're driving out of London, for example, I see a lot of Greenland, where like farmland, where like small horse and the horses and stuff like that. But lots of, I guess some of them might be lands that they cannot use for development, maybe restricted.
No, you can always work on that. So that's not an issue. You can always apply. It may take time, but that's not an issue. Okay, so good description. I agree with him. So which location in the UK currently is pre-developed? Who can tell us? Because I want this class to be practical. Else we're just gonna, say, oh, we like it, but the day you see property, you can't differentiate which way is what.
There's a lot of parts of Hertfordshire.
Okay.
That's pre-developed.
Pre-developed. What makes it pre-developed?
Where you have a lot of farmlands that are now changing hands to being sold to developers.
Beautiful. But what is driving the pre-development?
Ability to get planning permission.
No.
Yeah. Demand. Is it demand?
Yes, it's definitely population growth. What takes a land from undeveloped to pre-developed population growth? But what is driving that population growth? You must know. Because again, this is a class for us to become professionals and this when it comes to investing in it. So we must know what am I looking out for to be able to categorize a property. So what is putting that pressure for, like he's giving an example, more commercial people want to build and come into that location, but something must be the driver.
Population.
We know it's population growth, but something is bringing people.
If you look at
Lack of land. The classic example is in
the housing structure,
Usually, so again, this, yes.
Sometimes a new industry is cited.
Exactly.
Or a new train line.
Okay. A new train. So there are things just that you may not know. That's why you are in this class, because now you don't see land. My hope is that you leave this class, you don't see real estate the way you used to see them. Okay. You're just going to be seeing the dollar sign here. Thank you. Don't know how your brain. Then, like, I've been seeing all these places, but because something always drives that, right? Everybody else just know that, oh, people are going to this area, but there is something that is driving. Usually, it could be a source of transportation, either an airport is moving there, train is moving there, massive expansion of the road. It could be a university is coming there. It could be a new stadium. There is something that always helps. And once you know that thing, then all you want to do when it comes to land banking is to begin to buy in the outskirts of that. Are we together now? So that as whatever it is begins to expand, it then touches you.
Yes.
It makes sense?
Yes.
Good. So what you want to do is to analyze it. Now, sometimes people tell me, but when you get to pre-develop, the property value is already too much. So I say, you can start with undeveloped when they make an announcement of the project. So don't wait till the project is executed. That's where you can then get the best deal. Because they just announced that a project is coming somewhere, it's in the newspaper, you move in, right? That's a good period. If you're waiting till those projects are done, by that time, all the money there is gone, right? Because the price points will have gone a lot much higher. So this is for me a major thing I target. Even when it comes to countries I invest in. So I'm in Houston now. Why? The World Cup is coming to Houston too. Right? So Katie, where we have 40 acres, which we just signing now, has one of the best school districts. In fact, just beside me is a new school they're building. So you check all these things and I say, you know what? Let me key in now. Right? In the next 2 years, boom, boom, boom. And so a lot of people around me who work with us, and if I remember one of the properties we bought back in Nigeria, in Abuja, 6 months after we bought the property, one of my mentees who went to the site was just doing video and shouting, "Doctor, how did you know this thing we appreciate like this? How did you know? How did you know?" He was just shouting because 6 months before, thick forest, 6 months later, everybody's building. And it's like, there must be, and in Africa, we not told the whole thing. Grace, there's anointing. But there is also science. I'm not denying it's grace, but there is also the science, around that. Is that making sense at all? So, one of the largest land bank owner in America today is Bill Gates, ladies and gentlemen. He's, the map just shows you the map of America, and you can see all the acres he's owning in each state in America. He currently owns, as at the time this was compiled, of course, now he probably may be more. As at the time this was compiled, he currently owns 268,000 acres. Right? And guess what? 242,000 are farmland. So you know the man knows what he's doing. Right? So he's not even, majority are not developed location. They are pre-developed. They are farms at the moment. Go buy them to see what he can do. He knows that even his own project alone has the capacity to raise the value of those locations. Make sense? So look at, again, like I said, those of you just joining us, this is a 6 hours class and I'm trying to compress it into 3 hours. So the good news is that you will have the opportunity to get access to my university course, Sivakta University, where all these courses are there in detail that we can cover here. And, for 3 months, and you'll be able to get deep dive into it. One of the major practical good testimony around land banking is the McDonald concept, right? Because what McDonald does is to buy land, right, and then lease the land to the franchise, investors, right? So you're paying McDonald's two ways. You're paying them for the franchise, and you're paying them for leasing their land. But here's the good news: they make more money from the leasing than from selling burgers. And that's why at some point their CEO said, "We are not a burger company, we're a real estate company." Right? So it's a practical, and one of the beautiful things about McDonald's that even when they move out of that location, and that's the beauty of their concept. Let's say the franchise owner decide to pull out of the business or something. If they decide to sell that location, the value is like, of course, 100 times more than what, when they got it, which is probably why they are not in Africa. I think the acquisition process is a bit, tough for them to replicate because they want to buy the land and then give the land to whoever is leasing from them. It makes sense? Yes.
Good afternoon, everybody. Good afternoon. Good afternoon, Dr. Stevens. Pleasure seeing you virtually for the first time. Yes, I know that I follow 90% of my clients. I apologize. That's okay. That's okay. Good afternoon. How are you? Where are you joining us from? The UK, actually. Okay, so today is a UK day. Yeah, I mean, over the last, say, 6-7 years, I've been a big for Dr. Steven.
Eventually I got a friend who in Texas who has had worked on one state program with us several years ago. And I got to know about several of the estates. One good thing that made me join the GTEX family is I've seen the prototype of estates and I compared to developers within the UK. So the UK has got developers like Red Roll, Red Roll, EPC. This developers create a strong community that thrives, and the prototype of the estates forms part of their heritage. They pride themselves in the estates they develop. And for the first time in my lifetime, I'm seeing a company in Nigeria that's actually replicating that in Africa. And she takes scale that very, very well. So, Dr. Steven, thank you so much, because what you're doing is actually you're using your drink to help others build their own drinks. Your drink is helping me build my own drinks, not just for myself, but for my children's children as well. So, Dr. Steven, thank you once again. And you've been able to build a team of committed individuals. What I can attest to is awesome. CEO of my house. Honestly, I speak to Martha.
Are you one of our investors?
I'm not just because I'm just a small investor, with you, and it's just because I have, my full trust in what you guys are all doing. So I'm really, really proud to be associated with this firm. I pray to God that one day I get a sort of what I just want the F for your phone. Well, thank you so much, Ethan. Thank you so much, Dr. Steven. Thank you, Martha. Thank you, everybody. This is going to be a long journey. I'm going to do this journey together.
And thank you so much for coming and sharing. I'm humbled.
Okay, so just giving a testimony of some of those who have worked with us on land banking. We've had several people that have worked with us on that. Now, what are some of the, and that's beautiful thing about my training. I tell people, I'm not a motivational speaker, I'm just teaching what I'm doing. And, if you do the same, you get the same results. So it's not like we're teaching you something. I'm teaching you land banking now. I have more than 30 locations that I've done land banking in larger quantity, and people are doing under me. So one of those people are those who are sharing. So we have those who, you said you're also one of our investors? Okay, good. And a plot or 1 acre,
Acre.
1 acre.
1 acre for now.
Okay, for now. So one of the things we've started doing is to have opportunity for people to own what we call mini estates, right? Where we are able to have 100 acres, 200 acres in a place, and then you can own 1 or 2 or 3. We secure the property for you because we create fence, we're on ground, we're on site. So it may be 10 years later, 20 years later, you can now afford to build it or resell it. Whatever, you have a partner that's protected your land banking. Because the reason why a lot of people are struggling to be able to do land banking back in Africa is I'm not on ground, who then protects from people grabbing my land or something going on. So, and right now we're then replicating the same thing now in the US. So we have an opportunity for people who want to do that also in Katy in Houston. We're going to be launching that this new month. People can do the same. So you want to own an acre in Katy and live it for 5-10 years, just like Bill Gates is doing. And because sometimes you also find people say, if I put my money back in Africa, the dollar and the local currency issue, so okay, fine, we have the options, for you. Now, I must warn you that land banking is a bit difficult to do in the UK, like compared to now. It doesn't mean you can't do it, but we're just saying it's a bit more difficult. And I think the major reason is the zoning and getting the approval to be able to then convert, the property from one particular usage to another. Sometimes it can take you 2 years, 4 years just to get that. And usually it is when that then comes that the value is unlocked, but it doesn't mean you still cannot do it in the UK. I hope this makes sense.
Yeah.
What I advise people do is to go for properties that are already, cash producing. You could have a property that is already commercial, but it has a lot more land for an expansion, right? And so you can do your land banking in such a particular location. Yeah, it's just a bit more complex, but it's still doable anywhere in the world. Now, points to note before you do land banking, you can take note if you want to. Transportation facility, education, I'll take your question. Educational facilities, created environment, natural resources, climate, labor force, leadership, local laws and regulations. So you want to look at all these factors before you go into land banking in whatever location you're trying to do. Okay, again, I don't have time to break it down, but in the university, you can watch the detailed training called the Real Estate Investment Masterclass. It's on the university, and you're able to get further details there. Always know that exploring and understanding land uses is one of the most intriguing aspects of the world of real estate. There are multiple usage, right? You have commercial, you have industrial, and even you have residential. And under each of these categories, there's still many options. So you must be creative in exploring those options. So this is the 40-acre we're closing in Katy, in the US. Okay, let me just play it. Let's see if I can play it. This is just like a Google Earth. Yes. So in the middle here, you have this is the particular, it's like a ranch of some sort, beautiful. But it's a beautiful house, by the way. It's about 5 bedroom, there's a swimming pool. So we're converting to an office. It will be the office we'll be operating from. We're getting some cattle in because we want to make it like a ranch. People can come and do retreat, even rent it for retreat. As a barn, we're converting the barn to like, conference center. So people can come in, drink fresh milk, ride horses, have experiences, for the next few, months, maybe 24 months before heavy construction, takes over. Yeah. That way again, you remember we talk about real estate being a source of what? Cash flow, right? Okay, so for those of you who may want to do land banking business partner with our company, that's the contact. Martha is the CEO. So all our companies, we now have CEOs for them. I'm not the CEO, I'm just the founder and investor. So to get a faster, interaction, you may want to call the CEO who is directly in charge. Just let them know it's from me, and they'll give you all the attention you need. Now, the next is property flipping. Again, like I said, because of time, we'll not be able to break each of these down because I'm still on business number 1. I'm supposed to teach 5 business today. Property flipping is something very good, and I think that works even more here in the UK because a lot of the properties here are aging, right? I think UK has more aging properties than even the US. So flipping is one of those key, big time business that, we call it flop and flip, and, and you want to buy it, and furnish it better, and then you flip it. Okay, so flipping is a term used to describe purchasing a revenue generating asset. Don't forget again, you see the cash flow concept is coming again. Revenue generating asset and quickly reselling it for a profit within the real estate industry. The term is used by investors to describe the process of buying, rehabilitating, and selling property for a what? For a profit. So a couple of things to note. Number one, get a great deal. Okay? By wholesale, by auction. I think the auction route is what I recommend more for the UK market, right? It's the fastest way to buy real estate in the UK. Typical trying to buy real estate in the UK takes 3 months or more, right? But auction can be done in 30 days, right? So it becomes the best option for you here. And it becomes the best option because in 30 days you can close. And if you have good cash, you can immediately, be counting your profit. Are we learning something? Number two, find good financing. And I think we must, again, let me say this. If you will do real estate, it's all about network, period. Honestly. Quality network, period. Right? One of the things I did when I started investing heavily in the US, I did seminars like this, and I said this to a lot of brokers came and agents. And I said to them, these are the things I need. This. You give it to me, then I'm going to do deals with you. I remember where I wanted to invest in was even Dallas. But the guy in Houston, and I tell people, and this is important for all of us because some of us are agents, I want to be agents. If you're going to be a property agent, make sure you package a deal. And meaning of packaging a deal means everything must be included. Yes, you found the land, but that's just one part of it. Who is financing the land? The deal I finally went for was the one where the guy gave me the deal and gave me the lender. Right? It was just whether I meet the lender's criteria. Am I making sense at all? Yeah. And right, in fact, I got a pre-approval for $5 million like that. But that is a smart agent. Am I making sense at all? So the same thing, whether you are the agent or you're the one trying to invest, make sure you are dealing with a very experienced agent who has everything put together. Not that you see the deal, now you're looking for who is doing the financing. It's not. And again, invest in quality networking. It has to be intentional, guys. It has to be. What meetings are you going for? What seminars are you going for? What events are you going for? Because you will not meet quality people. I have a friend who tells me if the training is not $10,000, I'm not going. This was years ago. It was my first billionaire friend. It was a billionaire in Naira. So I had to ask, I said, so why is it that if the event is not $10,000, you are not going? He said, I'm into construction. I'm looking for people who give me hotels to build, house to build, road to build. And anybody who can afford $10,000 for a training, either him or their father, is my potential customer. It's true. I shook thinking. It's good thinking. I shook my head. I said, oh, I give it to you. But many of us are in those kind of businesses. And when we hear this, the amount of the training, and you don't know that some of us today, we go for training not because what they are teaching, we don't know. Right? I'm about paying $150,000 or something for a founders program in Harvard. Trust me, there's nothing they want to teach there that I don't know. Okay? But whoever can pay the money, that's the network we're looking for. You can afford to cover $150 million for a founders program. Please, you're my friend. Right? Am I making sense at all? So it's important, we in the real estate sector, we don't joke with quality, networking. We don't joke. We will do anything for it. I have spent $20,000 just to meet somebody before. Yes. Just to meet somebody. because that's what my industry requires. Okay, next, let's quickly move on. Choose properties that are not a full gut job. Less is often more, meaning look for something that the renovation is not heavy, look for something small, start there. Take your time to find a great contractor and subcontractor. Visit the site often. A lot of times you say, oh, because I'm just doing flipping, I got this contractor who will do the job. No, be on their neck, go see it. And last but not the least, don't overprice. So when you are now to flip the property, rather than waiting to make 40,000 pounds, right? If you can do 15,000 and move on to the next day, do it and move, right? When you come to flipping, in land banking, on the other hand, you keep it. The more you keep it, the better for you. But in flipping, the faster you move it, the better. Sometimes you may want to even do a light renovation. Let the new buyer do the heavy renovations, okay?
Real numbers behind flipping houses. I'm going to break down a deal we just did here in St. Clair Shores, Michigan. I'm going to share with you the exact numbers behind it. So we bought this property for $93,000, and that included the wholesaler's fee and some closing costs. And then the budget for the property was $48,000. So we put into the property with the purchase and the rehab $141,000. So we sold the property for $185,000. So you think, oh, great, might just make $44,000 flipping a house. Wrong. If you've seen any of my other videos, I talk about holding costs and closing costs are some of the most expensive parts when selling a home. A project where it looked like to the naked eye we made $44,000, we really only made $27,000 after the holding costs and closing costs. And that is a typical deal that we do in our single family fix and flip business. And that is the real numbers behind flipping homes.
So this video is very important because you really have to get your numbers right. And I think one of the major problems when it comes to business generally is a lot of us don't get the numbers right. Right? The holding cost and the closing cost is very, very critical in any real estate deal. Right? For example, I'm doing a deal of $5 million and the closing cost is running to almost $100,000 on its own. So if you're not careful, you're just excited that, oh, all I'm paying is $5 million, you know. No, there's still a lot more. So when calculating your profit, these are things you want to look at. And it works more when it comes to flipping because you can just think, oh, I've gotten 44,000. You really must get your numbers. You must know how much am I paying in tax, you know, throughout the period before I sell this. How much, you know, am I paying, you know, all the various fees that are involved, okay? Let's move on because of time. Are we learning something here? Yes. So next is commercial real estate. I will skip this because of time.
How much do you like real estate? Goals to meet as many people on this planet as possible, people that's positive, people that have more time to create and to be critical, more time to hustle than they have to hate, and they want to actually add strategy and techniques that are proven to grow their business so that they can take care of their family and the church. When do you know I'm rolling too hard here? I'm putting too much on one thing. And are you willing to take those risks?
I took the chance early. From the beginning, the first time I invested, my first investment was real estate.
Well,
I went from commercial real estate, huge, skyscrapers actually. You know, the first time what I did, how I got to where I got to was I looked at certain athletes' career. And I said, I don't want to end up like that. So what I did was this. It started off with $5 million. Put up $5 million, $50,000 a month. Every month I'm at 18. And I said, okay. And it was paying off. Every 18, every month it was paying off.
You like the cash flow?
But yes, for years. So I said, okay, if it's paying off like this, then, and I gave him 7 figures, I said, I'm not going to even give him 8 figures. I'm going to give him 9 figures. So then,
I love talking about money.
So I love talking about all these other. I've had people up here say money doesn't matter. I'm like, it's because you already got it. Well, you got to realize this is the reason why money matters. Okay. Without money, you can't buy food to live, to be alive. So money, you have to have money to be alive. But I believe in creating generational wealth. You know, yes.
When you look at investments today, Floyd, what do you look at? Is it feeling? Is it have to make sense to you? Is it something like?
If it's something that I know is paying off, lucrative and heavy, I gotta go with it. Roll the dice, take a chance. You only got one life.
Yes, so we only got one life, ladies and gentlemen. So I'm skipping more of the commercial, but
in 36 months, of course, with one of my new investments, I will be making 300 million a month.
What investment is that?
Just in real estate. I agree. Gotcha. And I'm heavy in real estate. I'm really heavy in real estate. Even though, you know, I got my own liquid, and that means cash. For those, I'm breaking down the layman's terms. Even though I got a lot of cash. OPM. OPM. You don't always have to use your money. That's why it's very important. You gotta make sure y'all keep your credit right. Very important.
Okay, so I hope we've learned a few things. Two things I will share here, a bit of digressing a little bit, but I think I should just stand and share. Number one is that he talked about something powerful there. OPM, right? Yes. And if you get my book, can you bring you a copy of my book? The Billionaire Habits. I hope you read it. I know some of you got it, but I hope you read it. You get it, you have to get it still. In the Billionaire Habits, I shared how you can become a millionaire, okay, with your own money or efforts and time. Are we together now? Or nobody has ever become a billionaire with their own money. The realm of being a billionaire has to be about investment. It's just the way it works. You have to leverage on other people's money to become a billionaire. Is the way things work globally. So if you don't understand that, then you're going to be missing. The first leg, of course, like he said, is keep getting your credit right, because now you are able to access, a lot of funds, either as an individual or as a company. I often say it, I say, if you cannot be able to access, 2 million, 5 million loan, okay, for real estate investment, commercial, because even if you're doing residential, to you is a commercial investment because it's a cash producing asset, isn't it? Now, if you can't do that, then you need to look back and review how you've lived, your life, right? If you've been in the UK 10 years, 20 years, and you cannot get a lender based on your credit to give you $2 million, you need to look at things afresh. Right? Because ultimately, what everybody has leverage on is OPM. Right? How am I able to say, okay, I want to buy property in the US, and boom, I got pre-approval for $5 million. I now by myself reduce the thing to 3.5. I'm adding 1.5. Okay? Because of what one has been able to build. Does that make sense at all? Yes. So we must not joke with that, because ultimately, all this I'm trying to do alone, there's a limit to take you to, right? It's when you begin to leverage on OPM that you can scale. But for that to happen, you have to work on your own investment. Another thing he said that I think is important, all of us take note of, is it's cash flow. Yeah. Right? What happened there was he was taking 1% every month. Remember, So in the first video, you saw him say he invested $5 million. You don't remember? Right? And he was getting 50,000, right? In the second video, you saw him say he's getting 300 million. Because remember in the first video, he said he now put 9 figure.
Yeah.
Right? Which was now generating 1%. But again, that's why you see the guy in private jets, buying all this type of cars. And that's why I say to people, don't just label people when they live in luxury without understanding what they're doing. Because what he did, and he intentionally invested in those ones, because I'm sure a lot of those celebrities are also investing with him. Those basketball players, once they've seen that he figured it out. I'm sure a lot of them say, okay, I got this $2 million. Oh, bring it, I'm going to invest and give you a return. So he's doing that as well. That's part of the OPM he's talking about as well. But it begins with you understanding what is the reasonable returns, which is where we miss it. Many people are not willing to take 1% return a month on their money. Until you work on your own investment return ROI appetite, so that it is reasonable. You are going nowhere when it comes to wealth creation. Because you're always going to be, oh, can I get something that give me 15%, 20%? And some of those things will crash in no time. Right? And then we end up coming again and say, oh, I was scammed, I was, they took advantage of me. But hey, here is one of the most famous guys in the world contented with 1% of a whole $5 million. How many of you have $5 million and you're okay with investing in something that only gives you 1% every month, which is 12% in a year, which is crazy in the US. That's too much. In fact, Warren Buffett was scream if he hears that. Okay? But some people in Africa still think that's too small. I remember meeting one of my Jewish partner here in the UK. And he was telling me, Dr. Stephen, why not get some of your investors to invest with me? He does, flipping like I showed you earlier. He's the founder, my partner, other partner is in Nigeria. He's the one that does the deal, he just is the funds. So when the other day, we're talking, I said, can't you get your investors to come and invest with me? So I said, what's the return you give them? So, I will make it 0.8%. I said, that's too small. So the highest I can give them is 1%. I said, my Nigerian investors will not invest. I said, what do they want? They want. They're looking like 5 to 10% a month. That's positive. I said, I know, but it's supposed to educate them. No, everything trying to give you that kind of return is a positive. I said, I know, but it's the mindset. Yeah, exactly the same way in Eritrea. That's everywhere in Africa. It's everywhere in Africa. Oh, so it's not just Nigeria. Oh, okay. Thank God. But it's not that shocking with the way we think. We just want it quick now, and that's why we fall into challenges. So please, as you get into real estate, it's one of the most profitable business model, but you must face the reality that it takes a while and there's a process around it. Okay? Short-let apartment, this is one of a very good model. Thank God we had somebody share his testimony with us earlier. He has a 3-bedroom, he converted to 7-bedroom HMO. And then part of it HMO, part of it is using for short-let. I think some of you, remember I told you must network with at least 5 people before leaving here. So get his number, see how, if you want to go to that business, you can learn from him as well. But again, in the university portal, you get more detail about how short-let work. But basically, it is these are just simple process to that. Access, if your space is good and fit for that. Number 2, get the space ready for guests, meaning you need to furnish the apartment, put in the bed, furniture, microwave, gas cooker, all of that, so that all the person is coming with is their luggage and they can live comfortably.
Explain.
Yeah, then list your space. Number 4, decide how you will host your guest. Number 5, set the price and get what? And get paid. Does that make sense? Okay, so but again, like I said, there's more detailed stuff in the university I'm practically running right now.
Could you put the previous slide about shortlets, just so that I could?
The previous slide? This one?
Yes. Sorry, can't see.
Guys.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, so Chocolate apartment is a fully furnished apartment rented out for days or weeks, just like a hotel. Business travelers are likely to choose Chocolate because they are cheaper. Somebody is distracting with your side talk, please. Because they are cheaper than hotel and offer better freedom of movement. In addition, hotel carry branding or signage outside the premises. Shortlets don't, right? So these are some of the, how shortlet works.
Okay, please let me take down. No, the previous one.
Which one?
The contact. The contact.
Okay,
Yes, this one.
okay.
So we haven't done it.
Okay, so my wife handles business in this one. We do. So what we do is, if secondary market, you want to buy a ready to move in property in Africa and Nigeria for now, we do this. Or you own a property and you want back in Africa and you want us to help you manage it as shortlet and we share the profit. So she handles this side of our business and can work. She's the CEO of it, and she can work with you on that. We started this because we live in Banana Island, and we realized a lot of even our friends and neighbors in Banana Island, some of them are not happy with some don't have properties even in Banana Island or Ikoyi, and they don't have people to rent it.
Okay.
Or the person managing it wasn't managing well. Meanwhile, those places are very good for shortlets, even better than long-term rents, because people are coming in and they just want to stay in that prestigious place for 1 week, 2 weeks. And so we started that and started helping a lot of people to manage, and we share the profit. So, and they're able to make way far more, than if they had rented it for 1 year, having no rent. Okay? Yes, you have a question.
Please. Can you give us a bit of tip how to secure properties for the short let, please?
So there are 2 ways. One is for you to rent and then sublet, but you must get the permission of the landlord. And you can do that here as well. The other is to buy it and then sublet. What the third one, is not common, is like what we are doing, which largely comes from experience and social capital. So once you've been able to do maybe 1 or 2, you may now get people who say, don't pay the rent, let's partner. I own the house, you handle the management, right? And let's say, I'm just giving an example, let's say what comes in every month is £5,000, right? And then we spend maybe £1,000 for other bills monthly, then you have 4,000. So both of you can split, depending on how you agree, to 2,000 each, or somebody takes 2,500, the other takes 1,500, right? But that only happens when you build reputation, people trust you, and they know that, okay, if they just agree on just agreement, then we get whatever is coming in, and you're quite transparent. So typically 3 options. So you either rent, take permission of the landlord, and then turn it to sublet, or you buy that property and own it, and then sublet, and then turn it to shortlet. Instead of long-term lease, you do short. Or the third one, you look for somebody who owns the property, and then you partner, whatever profit you share together. He will be willing if you have the credibility, because he will make a lot more money than, property that he probably would have been making, let's say, £1,000. Now, because it's short let, his own share could be as high as 1,500 or £2,000. Because of the short let money. Make sense?
Yes, thank you.
Okay, so I'm skipping. I just played the
GTEx
videos.
Homes has launched its eco-friendly and smart homes in Abuja. The estate, Jasper Hillview, located in Dubai, Abuja, when completed, will run outside the national grid and have a biodigester sewage system. Eleanor Samide against reports.
Nigeria is still battling to meet its housing gap of over 20 million units. The rainy season comes with its own challenges, even as some of the houses in the country are submerged by heavy downpour year in, year out. GTEx Home is working to change the narrative by providing affordable quality homes for Nigerians. GTEx Homes have set up in major parts of the country and outside Nigeria. Now it is bringing the benefits of quality and eco-friendly homes to Abuja residents, especially to Jasper Hillview Estate, Nubi. The estate is 20 minutes away from the Nnamdi Azikiwe International Airport and 5-minute drive from Dunamis Church. It has 3 and 4-bedroom apartments with BQs, 4-bedroom penthouses, and 5-bedroom semi-detached terrace houses for sale.
Where it's properly structured that with drainage empty itself with the river at the back. The mountainside can easily have us having a cable car coming down. So we thought of putting a park here as well as an hospital aside the residential. One of the key things for us when building estate, we love an all-inclusive estate. We love a community where everything is properly set up.
This home, when completed, will not use the national grid. In fact, like I say, the breaking issue because before people will have national grid, our generators are standby. They are creating gas for use from the west generated in the state.
The estate has been launched and prospective buyers now have the opportunity to meet with representatives on packages available in the estates.
So right here we have a river that's going to be in charge about drainage. We're working on making this place a tourist attraction. We're working with a cable car that's going to take you out and throw around this mountainside. So there are wonderful possibilities that's going to be done here.
Phase 1 of this property is sold out. We're currently selling on the phase 2 for installment. For people that want to pay, can you give me from now to 6 months? You're allowed to come in.
Upon completion, the estate will have modern day facilities such as greenhouses, fitted kitchens, 24-hour security, swimming pools, ample parking space, and lots more.
So this particular business model is more for, and we have an example of 20 units in Atlanta that we did as well in the US. It's an opportunity for you to either buy something that's practically dead and renovating, and then you're selling out each unit, right? Or you are picking up a land that's proximity to a residential location. You build residential houses and you're able to make a good profit margin of it. So whichever one you choose to do in terms of residential real estate housing is quite good because, again, and it also varies from where you're doing it, but the profits on it can be very tangible. Like this Atlanta one. Our profit margin on this Atlanta one is almost $2 million, right? So 20 units of 3-bedroom townhouse. And so got it for over $2 million, build the whole thing up. Right now, we're selling each of it for $250,000 each. Right, so we make Now, the beauty of this, and this is one of the reasons why I like this model, is that you have your rental income. This can come forward. You have your rental income. So the beauty why I like this is that you have your rental income. Even while we're waiting for who would buy it, we're already getting 1,400, rent coming consistently on the property, right? So we're not even too much under pressure. If we're able to sell it, fine. If not, there is, again, remember we said real estate source of what? Cash flow, isn't it? So once the cash flow keeps coming, you're in business, ladies and gentlemen. Okay, so for us, we're doing, everywhere we go, we're doing back in Nigeria. Of course, the ones we're doing in Nigeria are more large scale, average of 200 units, 1,000 units, but again, I think the first larger one, over 100 units is the new Houston one that we're going to be starting, which will be over 250 units in the US. And we're hoping it will be the largest green and smart estate in the US, actually. Okay. Are we learning? Are we inspired?
Yes.
Very. Okay. Can we do it? Because sometimes when we talk about these things, we're a bit scared. Boy. Can we do it? And it begins with the mindset. And one of the reasons why I do classes like this, and I've said to a lot of people, is to inspire you guys. Right? I don't have two heads. Do I? No. So if I'm
only monsters do have to.
So if I'm doing it, it tells you that you can do it as well, isn't it? However, of course, you don't need to start where I am because I didn't start where I am. Okay? You can start at your level. In fact, the first journey in this real estate business is what? Who can tell me? What's the first step?
Networking.
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 What else?
Believe.
Knowledge.
Wow.
Knowledge acquisition. That's the first step. It's not even buying the property. Right? Today's class has opened you up, isn't it? But you don't stop there because that's where we miss it. I think, particularly for our people of color, we come for a meeting like this and you meet someone like this, say, oh, we bought this $5 million, we did this 20 million, we're doing this, we're doing that. And then you're like, we can do it too. Then tomorrow you go and buy. Meanwhile, your knowledge base is still that of an infant.
Yes.
Am I making sense? Yes. It's still that of an infant. So, for example, it took me about 6 years to get knowledge, even though I'm already successful in Nigeria, but to now get knowledge of real estate in the international market. Right? Including going to Harvard, including paying Grant Cardone. I paid Grant Cardone for $200,000 to learn. One man is not God. Okay? But when the knowledge comes, the boldness is there. Am I making sense? Because it's you know that even if you fall, you know who you can call and say, Uncle G, this one, I'm ready to trouble here. And because you didn't build a parasitic relationship. I don't know, even if he's busy, you remember the 200,000 that entered his account. So, right? So he will do whatever he can to help her. Am I making sense at all? Yes. So and I'm saying this because a lot of you will be like, but I've tried to do business before, I failed. I'm scared. You failed because you didn't get enough knowledge. You didn't get somebody who is ahead to work with that person so that as you're going, the person can help you. Challenges you're facing, you can call, you can get support. Is this making sense at all? Yes. So if you can redo it again with the right mindset, with the right partnership, absolutely you're going to get to the top. Absolutely, nothing will stop. Okay, even this one I'm showing, this Valdosta property, I partner with a guy who has been in real estate he's a real estate lawyer in the US for over 20 years. Right? Does that reduce my profit? Yes. But I learned this from Rockefeller. I'm better off with 1% of 100 people's effort than 100% of my own effort alone. It makes sense? I'm better off with what? Once again? Better off with 1% of other people's effort, than 1% of my own effort. I shared with you earlier again that you can become a millionaire with your own effort. Absolutely. But everybody who is a billionaire today has to use other people's money and other people's OPM, if I don't choose. That's the secret. That's why one of the powerful things you must work on as you start building legitimate wealth is your attitude. Right? Is your attitude. If you're too judgmental, if you're too critical of other people, you've just put a limit to how wealthy you can get. Because a lot of the people you need to work with, partner with, will not be like you, will not think like you, will not act like you, will not even have the same belief system. Right? I suffered this many years ago. Except you're Oyedepo, you cannot mentor me.
Try.
Wow. Yeah. For many years, I just had that mindset to no, except you are this, except you are that. And I suffered it for years. Right? So today now, whether you're an atheist, I can learn from you. Whether you're a Christian, I can learn from you. Whether you're a Muslim, I can learn from you. Whether in fact, you don't believe in man and woman, you believe in another, I can learn from you.
Yes.
Right? As long as all I'm learning from you is that aspect of life and business, right? Am I making sense?
Yes.
No, I'm not coming to learn from you about my spirituality. I think that's what most of us miss it. That I can compartmentalize mentorship. I can restrict it to the area of competence of that person. Does it make sense at all? So this person is good with money. He's my money mentor. Or, this person is good with relationship. Is my relationship mentor. This person is good with marriage. Is my marriage mentor. How many of us have had pastors that are not even good marriage mentors, but they are good pastors?
Very true.
You know what I'm talking about?
Yes.
Because real pastor is even care.
Yeah.
It's really spiritual care. You are able to go people on their birthday, their naming, be there for them. They are sick, you go to hospital. It's just the care. Am I making sense, John? So ability to compartment and just say, this person can help me in this area is critical. So again, I'm repeating here. And I'm encouraging all of you, because a lot of you are already getting access to the university because you paid for this class. Go through those courses. You have 3 months. Go through them. You have the one of Robert Kiyosaki, you have the one of Grant Cardone, you have the one of John Maxwell, you have all my own sessions as well. You have Les Brown. So if you don't even like my face, I made sure I had other I had other, very successful guys share with you, in those aspects. Ryan Sahad, great guy, that he would teach you a lot about, brokerage, being a property agent. He's said to be #1 in the US now when it comes to property agency. And we share a lot of principle about him and what he does. Does it make sense? Okay. Can we move on? We're still on business #1. By the way, I still have a few units left to sell here. So if you want to buy or you know somebody interested, please be my guest. You can contact the CEO in charge of that, Farouk Usman.
Do you allow people to buy through mortgage or don't?
Yeah, I mean, we do, but the mortgage, the lender we have is 10%. Some people will tell you they don't want that. They want something cheaper. Okay. So you can look for your own mortgage. Why not?
Okay.
But we prefer cash buyers at this moment because the interest rate is a bit high, and so I don't keep arguing over the interest rate.
Okay.
And the thing
Fixed rate, very
again. And so, but if you want mortgage, you can get. But we prefer cash buyers because for us, we're also pulling out the funds to put into our new deals because of the mortgage as well.
Okay.
Yeah.
Excuse me.
Yeah.
Can you show the previous slide and have your?
This one?
Yes.
Okay.
Thank you.
So when you are doing residential, my advice is look at source of population growth, particularly jobs. Okay. So why we pick Valdosta? Valdosta is one of the biggest Air Force base in the US. It also has the university. So you hardly will have a property and people will rent it. The entire 20 unit already has tenants entirely. Okay, and that's your goal as an investor, is the rental income, really. Okay, I think a lot of people don't get that when they want to do real estate. They're thinking of where to live. That's not your goal. Your goal is, I buy this property, I'm getting rental income from it, my tenant is paying my mortgage, and I'm making something on top. That's your goal. Does this make sense at all? Right? Once you can have businesses, real estate assets, where what tenant is paying you is more than the mortgage, is the real way to build wealth when it comes to real estate world. Particularly when it comes to rental real estate. Because guess what? Now, let's say you're getting, I'm just giving an example, £500 profit on the property, because maybe you're renting it out for £1,500, right? And your mortgage is 1,000. And so you have 500 coming to you. 1 year later, right? When you do appraisal, you could have a 5 to 15% value increase on that real estate. And you can immediately turn it to equity line of credit. Are we together now? And pull out that what has appreciated. So let's say what the appreciation is £30,000. You practically can withdraw your £30,000. Spend it, which I don't advise, or put it into another real estate deal. I hope this makes sense with you. So this is the major strategy in this particular model. Again, we have to go. So last one under real estate. So I go to the next business. We're just on business number 1. We're supposed to look at 5 businesses, but the challenge is real estate class alone is, I share about 8 different ways to make money from real estate. So real estate class alone is usually 3 hours. But this one I'm just rushing. But again, you have a lot of content to digest in the Selecta University. I hope that makes sense. Okay. But let's rush on this. Real Estate Investment Trust is a company that owns, operates, or finance income generating real estate. Now, whenever I teach on REIT, I share from 2 perspectives. Either you own a real estate investment trust, or you can invest in a real estate investment trust. Any of the 2 is good. We have a trust program called GVES. So in Nigeria, we're cooperative, we're digital cooperative. In fact, we're the first digital cooperative in Africa to sell fractional real estate, where 20 people can come together to buy a house. If one person can buy it alone, we're the first to start that. And we're just registered now. We're going to be announcing in 2 weeks' time. Also in the US, we're now SEC, registered fund company for real estate in the US as well. So when we talked about OPM, if you have already mastered the real estate business, again, these are 8 years before we are going this round 2. So don't start now and say, okay, I'm setting up real estate investment trust fund from the year 1, right? again, when I teach things, I'm always putting all these caveats because sometimes you want to go too fast. But as you build reputation, you build a system, you are sure of, if I do this real estate deal, with the profit I make, you can now start a real estate investment trust of some sort, where you now give people returns on investment. Now, when we started 3 years ago, we only give annual returns. A lot of people were giving monthly returns, some were giving, and all of them have crashed. So again, these things, if you're going to set it up for yourself, get mentorship, right? So that what you're setting up is sustainable. In 3 years, we've not defaulted once to our investors. We pay them yearly, but they've never had to worry about getting their returns. And we then use the money they invested for that 1 year to go and put into buying more real estate, and part of the profit we share together. So this is one of the models you can use if you already own a real estate company, okay, and it's doing well already. You understand your numbers. If you want private, mentorship on this, I'm open to work with you on that. However, if you are not at that level yet, what I advise is invest in other existing ones. It does 2 things for you. Number one, you'll be able to master the model and understand what they're doing. And so when you decide to later start doing it, you know how those you worked with are doing. But secondly, why it's important is that you then have passive income. Because just like we talked to you guys earlier, those of you can remember when we did the cash flow quadrants. You remember? Mm-hmm. Come on, talk to me now. Yeah. You remember? Yes. Okay. We did E, employee, self-employed, and I, right? Yeah. So when we did this, we talked about this. And where, if you remember, my focus was that the major goal of anybody that is here should be here. The major goal of anybody here should be what? It should be here, because this is the most guaranteed source of financial freedom. Money working for you. So when you do real estate investment trust, as long as you do it with a credible company, it's a model of money working for you, because now you will not go about buying real estate and then waiting for return, all the headache. They are doing all that work. They are buying the properties, and you're just getting a piece of the pie. It makes sense to talk? For example, right now, if you notice, all our company now have CEOs. I've realized that even starting a business now at my level, again, these things are in phases. I've realized that at my level, being a CEO is not even the best thing for me. It's owning company, having CEOs to work for me, right? Just putting my money into people's businesses and having a piece of the pie is the right thing now. And then using all the connections and the wisdom I have to help their businesses to grow and, making the returns that comes from my own equity. That's